Oh, burdens are lifted at Calvary, 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 Calvary. Saying, burdens are lifted at Calvary. Oh, Jesus, Jesus is very. One more time, let's say, burdens. One more time, let's say, burdens are lifted at Calvary, 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 Calvary. Sing out, burdens are lifted at Calvary. Oh, Jesus, Jesus is very real. Italy. Burdens are lifted at Calvary, 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 Calvary. Sing out, burdens are lifted at Calvary. Oh, Jesus is very near. Let's say, Jesus, Jesus is very near. Sing out, we say Jesus, Jesus is very near. Jesus is
Your Excellency, even the singers are also saying they are going places. Your Excellency, they have been singing, and including our own Senator Mwaura, who is also a member of the one of the prayer breakfasts. Your Excellency, this is now the climax. This is the climax of today, in which we want to bring our speaker on stage. Your Excellency, I first met the speaker, His Excellency Tamrat Laine, this year during the National Prayer Breakfast of the United States of America. And I was moved by his testimony. He was born and raised in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Tamrat was an activist in the early 70s. He was inspired by the ideals of the university students those days who were demonstrating, seeking for greater freedom. He embraced communism as an ideology at the very onset of his career. He continued his activism in political parties and in during the military dictatorship in Ethiopia, which was replaced by the dictatorship in 1975. He led an opposition political movement for more than 17 years. And then he built an army, which thereafter took over, overthrew the dictatorship in 1991 in Ethiopia and became the prime minister. He became the prime minister for 3 years, and there are disagreements within his party, and they disagreed with the party, the senior party members of his party. And he was arrested and jailed in Communicado without any due process. He was jailed for 12 years without any due process. He was not taken through any court of law, but he remained in solitary confinement. Being an atheist in prison, he sought to find hope and meaning to what had happened to him. After 5 years of soul searching, he ended in hopelessness. Jesus miraculously found him at the end of the 5th year and transformed his life. When I met him and he gave me his testimony in Washington, D.C., I asked him, I told him, I'm very sorry that you were jailed. He told me, no, there's nothing to be sorry. Because if I had not been jailed, I would not have found Jesus. While he was in prison, his family were harassed. He had 2 children. They had unfortunately had to relocate to Kenya, where they stayed in Kenya up to 2003 in a refugee camp, and they were taken to the U.S. as refugees in 2003, where they settled in Colorado, in the United States of America. When His Excellency Honorable Tamrat Laine was released in 2009, after 12 years of separation from his family, he joined his family in the U.S. You know, the most interesting thing, when I was talking with him, he told me one wish that he wanted when he was released, and which wish he was asked. He was asked, so what is your wish? He said, I would like to meet the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. They didn't ask him why, but he said when he met the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, he told him, I have forgiven you for jailing me for 12 years. It takes only a man with a big heart to do so. I don't know what I would have done myself. Tamrat is a speaker and a leadership development trainer with a passion for the young generation, and he travels globally. He has an MBA degree in business management from the UK, an MBA degree in public policy and international affairs, and he has also a further MA degree in international legal studies. Would you join me kindly to welcome His Excellency, the Honorable Tamrat Laine? Sounds like something in Kenya, some name in Kenya. I don't know why he went to Ethiopia. I suppose he should have been in Kenya, but we want to thank him very much for coming from all the way. He now lives in Colorado, USA. Welcome. Karibu.
Thank you, my friend. Wow. What a blessing to be here where, more than anything else, the name of Jesus is lifted up. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, and First Lady, Your Excellency, the Vice President and Second Lady, Excellencies, the Speakers and Members of Parliament, Honorable Chief Justice, Justices of the Supreme Court, and the judges, Excellencies, the Cabinet Ministers, Ambassadors, and the diplomatic community, Excellencies, the leaders of the majority and minority parties in Parliament, and also out of the Parliament, fathers, chiefs, and leaders of all religious bodies, all other dignitaries and invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, the beloved and brotherly people of Kenya. It's an honor and privilege to be in this beautiful land. It's my utmost pleasure to be here and see many of my Kenyan best friends. May my special thanks extend to the parliamentary organizing body for this special event, for having me at the Kenya Prayer Breakfast. It's indeed a blessing. Allowing me to share part of your life at this conjuncture of circumstances is a unique opportunity, for I am grateful. my soul cherishes every moment of my stay, feeding the plethora of reminders. I congratulate you, President Dr. Ruto, on your recent successful state visit to the United States. It's a signal of God's favor, and at the same time, an increased accountability for the people of Kenya and Africa, for its diplomatic altitude. It's an inspiration for Africa that the delight is sincerely shared. I want to convey my special thanks on behalf of my family to the people and government of Kenya. 24 years ago, my wife and our 2 children were forced to flee from their country and ended up in one of the Nairobi refugee camps and stayed for 3 years while I was under politically motivated imprisonment by the then government for 12 years. During those darkest periods of our family, Kenya became the ray of hope to my family. My son, who was 7 years old then, always gratefully remembers now that Kenya taught him to speak Kiswahili and gave him Kenyan friends. The theme of this year's Kenya prayer breakfast, hope. And my privilege as a speaker made the meaning of hope too personal. The fact that hope is reverberating from this place also made it too Kenyan, and for that matter, too African in the prevailing circumstances. I call my life journey the pilgrimage of hope. When I decided to join my friends as a teenage student in the 1970s, with a vision of transforming the oppressive and poorest Ethiopia into a free and prosperous country, the driving force was hope. When a handful of us left our homes, abandoned our loved ones, fled to the mountains of Ethiopia, and fought in armed struggle for 15 years, to the point of losing our lives, for the cause we believed in, the overriding power was hope. During the darkest 12-year segment of my prison life in solitary confinement, hope was my only anchor of survival. However, in the first 5 years when I was engulfed in total hopelessness, my spirit died. I attempted to commit suicide in prison twice. I had nothing left except dreaming of death until a person called Jesus of Nazareth appeared in the middle of the night through his light and gave me hope miraculously that I would not die. I would get out of prison and I would live for testifying his name around the world. That is what happened later after I got out of prison. And as he promised, he let me travel around the world except Australia, and I wish someday I will go there, and lifted his name for many thousands of people to come to him. Then hope empowered me to figure out a new purpose while I was in prison, which restored my spirit